going up. I mean, it's skyrocketed. So a $600 pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him, and 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk. We're live. The 4th day of the month of February. Looking forward to having a little good back and forth discussion this evening. And more importantly, as you guys can tell from tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about what's currently happening here in the state of Michigan, in the city of Detroit. And so today has been labeled Black Monday, officially as of last week when it was announced that GM will be laying off or starting the winding down of laying off several thousand people in the first round, and their goal of trying to restructure $2.5 billion. And so the big question is, will that help? And so I have my opinion on that matter. And so I want to put it out there for you guys to, get a chance to see what you guys think about that. Will it help at all? Or is it just the beginning of something else that's going to be bigger, stronger, and more problematic for a good portion of Detroit as well as the rest of the country? So that being the case, my name is Mike. Welcome to RTD Live Talk. Looking forward to having a chance to meet or speak with some of you guys tonight. And so as always, there's two methods of communicating with me. We have the chat right here. And so if you are a new viewer to the channel, we'd love to welcome you directly, give you a shout out in the chat. Let me know where you're watching us from. And then if you're bold enough and interested, there's a number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. That's for you to call in and to let me know what's on your mind. And so with that being the case, let me check in and see who's watching. And then I will share a couple articles with you. Get your thoughts on the video I did earlier today about the World Bank and what that could possibly mean. And we'll go from there. But other than that, as always, looking forward to seeing what's up. So let me see who's in the chat thus far. It says, Scott, how you doing, my friend? Blunt, word. It says, Derek, RTD, remove the dollar. Okay. D. Robbie, hello. How you doing, Blake? We got Kenneth, Penhas, Motor City Live Talk, New Money. Hey, Mike. Hello, everyone. And so, with that being the case, today is labeled Black Monday by the mainstream media because of the unfortunate news that was handed out as of last week for today. And so just Googling or typing in GM layoffs today, there's a couple fresh articles that gave somewhat of a more in-depth spin as to what's currently happening now in the city of Detroit. And initially, from what I read last week, it was just going to be a 1-week process of, handing out pink slips and just basically letting people know that their services are no longer needed, due to the idea that I watched the video earlier that the president, the CEO, she mentioned that her main objective is to help the company return back to profitability. And so I guess shaving $2.5 billion worth of dead weight, or whatever they might want to look at it as, is meant to help the company be more profitable. But yet, one of the things that came to mind is that they can shave or cut down or slim down and trim down all the excess that they consider that's keeping them from being profitable. But at the end of the day, when you look on the grander scheme of things, you look at the global slowdown, I imagine that a lot of people, especially in this country, Europe and everywhere else the GM cars are sold, a lot of people aren't taking out excessive debt these days to really get into these new vehicles. So I think they're going to have a lot more problems than just laying off current salaried workers. And so, of course, the salaried workers, I'd imagine, are the more higher end, more technical individuals, engineers, designers, and executive and people in the top of the spectrum there. And so eventually, the people at the middle to the bottom are the ones that actually get their hands dirty. Those are the union workers or whatnot, those that are on the line. And so eventually, if they're not proven to be successful with this current restructuring of $2.5 billion, they're going to probably have to add on another 2 or 1.5 billion, which will then trickle down into some union workers as well as just the overall general labor. And then that right there is a sign of a dying company, in my opinion. But I'll let you guys be the determinant of that. So what else is going on? It says, on the bright side, I got a fat tax return. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blake Wood. Okay, congrats, my friend. Penna, we said, hello, the healthcare tax has not been canceled yet. Blake Wood. Yeah, I haven't even really dived much or even really covered much of the whole healthcare side of things. Last I remember, a lot of people were looking to unwind the Unaffordable Care Act, aka Obama plan, and so I don't know where that stands as its current moment. But you know, that was an issue definitely, you know, a couple years ago, and I'm assuming it still might be, but it's not as big as this current situation here, starting in the Motor City capital, Detroit. Says, think we're headed for new highs or just a bear market rally. STCE Golf. Depends on what you're referring to. I could imagine that new highs as far as the equities market or what. I'd imagine it's in their best interest to make sure they continue to pump these things up. But once again, it's unfortunate that when a company such as GM has a major restructuring or massive firing, that the stock of GM tends to take a little spike as more people pile in and make it and have that feel, I guess, that you're shaving off some expendable individuals, that you should be more, you know, more limber, more quicker to be able to make more greater profits. But I think that all this restructuring is done on the premise that it will help them get to where they're trying to go. But in the end, you know, where can a car company go that basic model of manufacturing vehicles, a new model every year, to people who typically really can't afford it? I think that's going to be an issue. And so just give you an idea of where GM currently stands on the NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange rather. And it says here that as of today, they were trading at 38.93. And so let's look at their overall history. So this goes back just to 2010. Oh, really? I wonder why. And so it dipped in 2012 to $20. And it's been rallying, got up to 40, got up to 45. And so it's 45 as of July 2000 or October 2017. So trading sideways for the most part. But once again, you know, if you are of the mindset that this company here is basically hanging on by a tight thread, it's just a matter of time before there's a market correction and people don't buy cars and the stock of this company dips. And that will definitely be problematic, in my opinion. And so that's a little bit something there. But let's check in, man. What is going on in the chat here? Let me find out what's going on. As always, feel free to give me a call. Phone lines are open. And so we can keep this thing moving. We got an article here from Tencom Media. Let me see what this is talking about. It's loading now. And so sounds like a good article here. It says Chevy takes advantage of gas shortage to sell all electric Bolt EV. Yeah, in Mexico. So fuel shortages are hitting Mexico after the closure of state-owned pipeline, creating a disruption, bottleneck in Chevy. And they took advantage. It says, since fuel distribution shifted from the pipelines, it created shortages and long lines at gas stations. So, man, so basically because of the gas shortage, they're taking advantage of people by pumping an electrical vehicle as an alternative. But once again, most of the people, if this is in Mexico especially, Chevrolet's Mexican marketing team, you know, just the overall living standards in Mexico and the quality of life there is not really sustainable for a good portion of the population there to acquire these type of vehicles, because I imagine they're not cheap. So this is not going to be a sustainable business model that will make them more profitable, I believe, but I could be completely wrong. Let me know in the chat. It says they're heading for new highs or just a bear market rally. It says Mary Burns is full of crap and I don't give her a damn about saving America. So we're talking about the CEO here. So let's pull this up and let's see what she is in the news as saying. And so let me see if I find something good here. Okay, so this is interesting. Just the title alone. I don't know much about it, but just the title alone, it caught my attention. It says, after laying off 15,000 workers, GM has a message for Wall Street and Tesla. And so this article was as of about 2 weeks ago. And so it says 15,000 workers. And so we're just talking about 4,200. It says the move also with sharp cuts in the GM's white collar first will eliminate nearly 15,000 jobs. Okay, so I think I remember a while back mentioning that there was a much greater number. And according to mid-January, it looks like the final number that GM will be looking to get rid of is 15,000 jobs. So we're just talking about this Black Monday. Start of this Black Monday is just talking about the first the first third of the overall cuts. And so it looks like an expected 15,000 might be coming. And so that is definitely no better news than the 4,200. And so that's, not a pretty sight, man. Not a pretty sight. So what else is going on here? It says, leverage channel, especially since I'm in the auto business. SLF Auto. SWFLauto.com. All right, my friend, appreciate you for chiming in. And so, since you're in the auto business, let me know your thoughts, my friend. Well, how's everything in the auto sector? Are you in the manufacturing? Are you a supplier? Are you as car sales? Or what type of line of work are you in? And speaking of which, if you are able to, why don't you give me a call, man? I would love to pick your brain on what this GM situation might mean for your line of work, as well as get your thoughts on how it's going to play out long term. I think it's always good to try to talk things out and just to try to make some sense about all this that's going on, because once again, these are one of the things that is just the first round, if it's even considered a round, especially if you saw the article a minute ago, 15,000 is coming. So we're just working on 4,200 for this month. So I would imagine they're going to probably unwind 15,000 total. I hope, hopefully by the end of this year, at least into the summer. Because if they trying to get rid of 15,000 before spring, that's definitely going to hamper the local economy here. Nevertheless, all the other plants and things that are closing. And so since I'm here and no one's calling me, it'll give me a chance to get to some articles. And so it says used sales. Okay. Gerald, how you doing, my friend? It says, I live in Mexico as an expat for several years. You are right. Most of the population cannot afford these expensive vehicles. Cars are significantly more expensive than here in the U.S. Yeah, so just the idea that, that sounds like a little quick ploy to make a couple dollars there to not subsidize, but basically take advantage of gas prices by promoting the usefulness of a electrical car. But we'll see. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name's Chauncey. I'm a Southwest Florida auto.
Chauncey.
I love your channel. I watch it all the time.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you for calling in. And so are you in auto sales, you say?
Yes, I have a used car dealership in South Florida, Fort Myers.
Okay, Fort Myers. So give me your thoughts, man. So you're in the car industry, so you're in used sales, but I'd imagine that, being in the car industry, there might be some things that concern you. Is there anything directly, or is this just something just going to fly by, no big deal?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the last 2 years, it's just been pretty. It's getting worse. Obviously, we were affected down here by a hurricane, but I have about 100 cars in my lot, and I'm telling you, like at the auctions, the prices are still really high, and a lot of dealers, if they're not hurting yet, they won't be, just because of there's just less clean vehicles coming from new car dealers, so there's less clean vehicles being sold. Yeah. That means less inventory for used car dealers like myself. And then what happens is that the clean ones just go for astronomical numbers. It just, it's not a good business to be in right now.
Yeah, and so that's definitely something of concern. And so speaking of used car sales, like here, especially, Motor City, Detroit. So, I'm imagining there's a lot of cars, used cars places everywhere. But, I would be willing to bet that here in Detroit, and I drive past a lot of the GM plants and Chrysler plants and things of that nature. And so like the engineering building where a good chunk of the more high paid salary workers work at, I imagine, it's not too far. And so one thing I always wonder about, I see a stockpile of brand new cars that's piled up. And my first thought is if they have all these new cars piled up because they're not moving fast enough for whatever reason, I imagine also I see a lot of used car lots that are stacked up as well. So it seems that we have an abundance of cars, but not enough people that can actually afford them. And so
definitely. I mean, it's the people are just completely over their head in debt again, and it's definitely. It's just definitely a storm brewing, that's for sure. And, I got a lot of friends in the the building industry, that are flipping houses, and they're seeing the same thing again all over, and it's definitely another storm brewing for sure. I mean, imagine if they released all those cars they have just sitting on those lots, or not even on those lots. They haven't even sent them to the new car dealers yet. Yeah. Imagine if they sent them, the amount of price that would just depreciate all the vehicles. Yeah. And actually, me talking to banks, a lot of them are not even going by retail value anymore. They're going by clean trade when they're doing the loans, just because they believe the vehicles are overvalued. And I mean, there's just going to be a reset. I don't think it's going to be like total chaos, because everyone still needs to buy cars. People need to eat. People need to do all this. To just do less of it.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question. As far as your experience in the used car sales business. How long have you been in that line of work?
Since college.
Since college?
I started doing. This is not the only thing I do. I've tried to diversify myself a little bit, but this is the main thing I do. And so I've been in it for about 10 years. Okay. Actually, a little longer. I did it in college too.
Okay. Now, the question I was going to ask is, have you noticed that the time frame that the creditors are willing to finance people has increased significantly? And so as a car salesman, is that something that perhaps has concerned you, where I think you can lease a car up to like 72 months or 80-something months? Or
Oh, yeah. That's definitely a big thing, I go to a lot of auctions, and I talk to a lot of the managers over at Hallmark, which is a big dealer. And, they're talking about, people are coming in there to sell, they sell their cars there. Mm-hmm. People are coming in with, 7-year-old cars, and they still owe more than it's worth that long down the road because of that.
Yeah. Wow, man, that's something else, man. But hey, man, I appreciate you for calling in. I wish you the best of luck down there, my friend. And it looks like, because you're informed, you're aware. I'd imagine that you have some things in place that's going to help you make it through whatever might come. So, God bless you, brother.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I love your show.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Yeah, man, that's great to hear from someone in the auto sales directly. Appreciate you calling and sharing that. And as always, feel free to call in. And more importantly, just because I only have, just one line, if I'm on the phone with somebody, feel free to just hold off until we get off, and then you can give a call back and we'll get you on here, because I haven't quite figured out how to, end the call while I'm talking to somebody. But anyway, appreciate you guys for calling in. Let me see what else is going on in the chat. Tony, how you doing, my friend? We got Faith here. Margie's in the building. We got Faith. What else we got here? Okay, it says the text. Sorry, I tried calling. Greg, yeah, feel free to give me a call again, my friend. And so it says Repo Man is going to be a good market. Tony Blaylock, Repo Man. So yeah, and that's the thing. There's probably a lot more cars out there than there'll be people interested in getting into that line of work, just because of the dangers of actually going to someone's house in a time like that to go pick up somebody's vehicle. Might not be the most fun job to have. 1 second. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, man? My name is Gregory Shavers. I'm calling from Buffalo, but I'm from Detroit as well. So
okay, calling from Buffalo. How you doing, Greg? What's up, my friend? What's on your mind this evening? How's things out in Buffalo?
What was that? What was that last part?
How's things out in Buffalo?
Oh man, we finally started to get some warm weather, man. It's the snow compared to like over here to across the river. Yeah. It's totally different. We've gotten like, I say within the last 2 weeks, it snowed at least 10 times.
Yeah, man. So did you get that little cold vortex, a polar vortex? Did that come through New York?
Yeah, we got all of it. Polar vortex, 12 inches of snow.
Yeah.
I had to help people get out, out of their car. Not out of their car, but, getting them stuck in the snow. I mean, it's crazy. The weather's different. It's really, really different.
Yeah, man. But what's on your mind this evening, buddy?
So yeah, I just wanted to just give people some insight. I'm a computer science major.
Okay.
And I'm in the tech space.
Yeah.
I'm in AI. I'm in machine learning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with an organization called the School of AI. We're trying to teach everybody artificial intelligence for free.
Yeah.
Like the whole world.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to know like that, who wants to get into artificial intelligence, there's an introduction class on data science.
Okay.
So if you type in theschool.ai.com, I'm sorry, it's theschool.ai, it will take you to a homepage where you can actually learn AI for free. That's the first nugget I wanted to put in.
Theschool.ai. Okay. That's something worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's theschool.ai. So instead of .com, it's .ai.
Yeah. Okay, popping it in now. Thanks for putting us up on that. All right, what else?
Yeah,
what else you got in your mind?
The second thing I wanted to put in is like with automotive and just like the whole automotive industry.
Yeah,
they're switching over to a service base. They're switching over to rental and service base because these corporations understand that my generation, or like not only in student loan debt but in consumer debt.
Yeah,
and just the way how technology is being transformed, we don't really need to buy or rent a lot of things. No, we don't need to buy a lot of things. A lot of the things that we're doing we're renting, we're borrowing. So you have to really change your whole business model with this new generation if you want to be competitive in a global market. So like, I don't know if you know, GM owns part of Lyft. Like GM and Lyft are like, they're in communication. So I see a vision where, GM is giving the cars to Lyft. And when Lyft goes public, they get a piece of the market share, or they get some stock price to put that money back on their balance sheet. And it's going to be like a synonymous relationship where they give the cars to certain partners that have the patents to be able to have these autonomous cars.
Yeah,
and it's just going to be a back and forth relationship because most people, like anybody between who was born in the 80s, most of us can't get a car. Like my girlfriend, she's a physician, and I had to use my credit to help her get a car because she's in so much debt. She just can't afford a car. Like she just can't.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving people some insight on how the auto industry is changing. Like people who's dealerships, they might want to start looking and getting into new careers within the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe start learning how to program.
Yeah, I've suggested and hinted at the whole idea of coding, given that coding is another form of communication amongst AI and robotics and automation, things of that nature. But of course, it takes time and energy. So I appreciate you sharing that because I put that school.ai in the chat because I myself am always interested in learning some new things. So definitely, I'm gonna take my own advice and just become a little bit versed in that type of lingo there, just so I can better educate myself and perhaps, who knows, might actually like it, enjoy it, and try to go that way myself. So, but yeah, man, that's some good stuff. So automation definitely is coming and it's here now. And it's going to be positioned as the best alternative to basically not having to take on the burden of having payroll, excessive healthcare burdens, retirement burdens. So all those burdens on corporations is the reason why automation probably will come a lot faster, I believe.
I mean, even if you don't want to know how to program, just knowing the technology and knowing how it works, just to be able to conduct yourself in the business will be a great help for you.
Yeah.
Because you can just market yourself saying, like, I know the technology, I can speak the lingo. Like, you don't have to be a programmer or an engineer. Like, you can just be on the business side. So it's painful, but it's the necessary pain. Like, you can't stop technology, you can't stop evolution from occurring. You can only really adapt to it. That's why, I mean, humans are just naturally good at just adapting to new things. So I just wanted to plug that in.
Appreciate it.
To let people know that there is organizations out here to help people make this transition. And that's my insight I wanted to give y'all.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for calling in, my friend. Good luck with school as well. Knock it out, man.
Thank you, man. I graduate in spring, so I'm excited.
Good deal, man. Good luck getting into work for us, boss, man. Be good.
Take care.
Yeah, man. That's good stuff. Appreciate you calling in, man. That's a young man there doing some automated type of stuff there. Put us on game with the school.ai. So make sure you guys check it out if you are interested in, as he mentioned, becoming just a little bit versed in that type of lingo for either actually hands-on or just being able to market yourself as someone who knows it. So I'm definitely about that. So appreciate you. Let me get back to the chat. What am I missing over here? What am I missing? Let me see here. We got another article here. And so let me speaking of which, I got a couple of articles here that I want to touch on. Let me clear my screen a little bit. And so all right, so this is just an article here. This is from out of Chicago. And this just came out just came out. This is Chicago Tribune, just came out a couple hours ago. And it says General Motors starting 4,300. So it said 4,250. Now it's 4,300 white collar layoffs this week. And then as I scroll through here, what stood out is it says the company says 2,200 white collar employees took buyouts, while another 1,500 contract workers were let go. It says in November, the company said it wanted to cut 8,000 salaried and contract workers so it can raise profit margins and invest more in autonomous and electric vehicles. So that's interesting, man, that we just got done talking about autonomous vehicles, and the young man mentioned about GM being partners with Lyft. And so here we go. The idea of needing to raise profit margins for investors. And this is just another thought comes to mind. Everything that we're going to be a part of or experience this year is all from the framework of making sure the top shareholders are happy. Because everything, when it comes to this capitalist society we're in now, capitalism in regards to the haves, the have-nots, there's always going to be that way. And that's just how this world works. And so the profit margins are geared towards those that are heavy investors, not really the small fries. Everybody might have a little GM in their portfolio or whatever, but I'm talking about the people who are sitting on a lot of shares of GM. It's about them. They got to make sure they're happy. And so in order to raise profit margins, they're going to invest in autonomous and electrical vehicles. And with that comes more job displacement and just new opportunities as well for those that are well versed in that type of stuff there. But autonomous is something we're going to hear a lot about moving forward, and just overall automation with everything. Everything will be automated in a sense. Anything that requires unskilled labor will eventually be replaced by robotics or some type of automated system. And that's just the reality of things. It says GM says the layoffs are part of a restructuring will add up to $25 billion to its bottom line this year. So $2.5 billion by this year. So that's the goal, man. It's all about remaining profitable. It's not necessarily about being or supplying the livelihoods and making sure people are able to put food on their table. It's about being profitable for those that are the primary supporters, shareholders of the company. So that's what it is, man. That is what it is. So what else we got? It says all was needed to save Lordstown with a bigger spray booth. Ace. I'm not sure what's going on there. It says people coding humanity into obsolete. Yeah. It says they are going to China all the way. We talk about jobs. It says Edward is a better batteries being put out. There's job placement. What's up, Mike? Louisiana here. Brandy, how you doing? Sorry, I'm a bit tardy. No problem. I got on a little late myself. Had to, do some artwork type stuff and grab a couple articles and whatnot. And yeah, got a late start myself, but it is what it is. But we're here this evening, so I appreciate you guys for chiming in. And more importantly, if you're on here and you've been here for a couple minutes now, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button, because what that does is basically let people know that there's some people talking some good talk and they might want to join in. So it gives us a chance to hopefully draw a couple more people into the fold to give them some information that they may not be receiving anywhere else. And so for those that had a chance earlier to check out the article or the video I did in reference to the World Bank, Mr. Jim Young Kim, the president, who is calling it quits and deciding to leave a organization that has been positioned as a global lender of first and last resort, which is basically just drain the wealth of all the naturally rich and prosperous nations that are all under some type of corrupt governmental regime. And he's moving up to the private sector. But it's good to say, what caught me about that whole situation there is that he's leaving a private institution that's more of a central bank type of figure to go small to a private equity firm. But I imagine that he's going to a firm that he probably helped out throughout his tenure as a World Bank CEO. And so he's probably stepping into a much bigger role, much bigger job. And he's probably has a couple deals and a couple backs that he's scratched that he's going to go recollect from. And so he's probably going to be a lot better off than he was as a CEO of the World Bank. So that seems to be how things work at that tier of a society, where you have a lot of people who are in the know, they're well connected, and for the most part, if you play your part, you can always have a role in some other organization. So you just make one big cyclical U-turn through all these corporations, collecting millions, if not probably billions, and the world is no better off with you doing that than if you weren't in that line of work at all, man. So people adding no value to humanity. And so what else is going on here? And so let me get back to the chat. Back to the chat. And so I got a text message. Let me address this text real quick. This is funny. All right. I apologize for that. I've never replied to a text online, but it is what it is. Okay, so yeah, we keep this party moving, man. So as always, the phone lines are open. Feel free to give me a call. We'll love to hear your voice directly. It's always better to talk to someone directly as opposed to talking to a screen or actually just talking to a camera. And I feel like I'm all by myself right now. Okay, so Kron BTC says Bitcoin going to 100K. 100K is definitely possible, but yet I believe it's going to go to 1,000 first again. And so Crown BTC, what do you got to say about that? Do you think it's going to be a dip, or right now at that 3,400? Let me actually look it up, man. Looks like, we got our crypto people on here, so I definitely don't want to disappoint. So let me see what the coin market cap talking about right now. I would probably say this coinmarketcap.com is probably one of the third or fourth most viewed, right behind Google and Facebook, because you got so many people trying to find out what the prices of what things are. So we got 3,400 for BTC. Litecoin, 3,400. Tron, 2 cents. I'm not a Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV type of person. Yeah, man. It's a lot of good projects on here that I am curious about, I must admit. I wish I had a printing press that I could legally run and just go heavy in the game if that was legal. But unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, man. So what else we going? What's going on? It says these car companies got bailouts and cash for clunkers that kept them artificially pumped up. Nature is trying to flush them so that we can get fresh cars. Yeah, so that's another thing. The whole cash for clunkers. I remember that very well. We had a lot of people turning in decent cars at best to go into debt with a little bit of a tax incentive or a little cash credit type of situation. And I imagine those people probably right now are no better off than they were prior to getting rid of their clunker. So at the end of the day, they could have kept their clunker and probably got their weight up. Or during that time frame, that's when nobody really knew about BTC and all the other coins. So you couldn't have put that to any other use. But it is what it is. So the only catalyst I see to BTC rising is hard landing dollar collapse. Kid, I believe that, of course, rethinking the dollar. So this whole show is based upon the idea that my long-term belief is that as all fiat currencies have returned to their intrinsic value, which is zero, that, the Federal Reserve note will go that same route. And in doing so, anything that has monetary properties will eventually be utilized as a transfer mechanism out of fiat currencies globally into those particular assets, whether it be metals, of course, crypto sectors. I think, like right now, there's a lot of no-name coins and tokens out there that nobody can even care about. But when there's a mad flux of people trying to get out of notes, I imagine some of the worst coins that we could never imagine will prove to be a viable vehicle to put some purchasing power into out of speculation, in hopes that more people will also get in, to where if you get in at 2 cents, if it goes to 4 cents, you just double what you put in. So it doesn't take much money for a lot of these projects to have significant gains, is what I'm trying to get at. So in my opinion, I believe that it definitely will go a lot higher in the end, because everything right now is denominated and measured in Federal Reserve notes, aka dollar terms. There will come a time where we no longer value things in dollar. And when that happens, everything that's not denominated in dollar anymore will have probably substantially more value than a Federal Reserve note. But I don't want to go down that route that much. It says a 4-year super cycle. It says if the dollar soars, how much is BTC worth? If the dollar fails, you want another third-party risk or gold. Yeah, man. So Tony, good point. It says if the dollar soars, how much is BTC worth? It's the same. Okay, so BTC, the value in dollar-denominated terms, how high could it go will be in comparison to how high gold would go, because gold, apart from the numbers we have of how finite of the supply is above ground, in vaults, hidden, there's only so many hundred or thousands of tons in general. And then when it comes to this particular BTC chain, just the BTC chain itself, with 21 million, of which a good portion of that is probably gone or whatever, it has the same level of scarcity as gold relative to the amount of paper that's going to be put in circulation. So I would say gold and BTC, the potential increase can be somewhat infinite, because look what you're comparing it to. And the thing is, like, for example, it was just speaking about Venezuela, a BTC was at one point on par with the Federal Reserve note, and probably say being about 200 bolivars, was about $200 or so here, when BTC was 200 back in 2012-11. Now you look at how much Bitcoin is worth in bolivars and how much is worth in dollars. Dollars is 3,400. Bolivars is 30 million or something of that nature. So, but who would want 30 million pieces of paper? Yeah, but that's what it is, man. It says remember to get your weight up in food, water, medicines, etc. Alaska Prepper, good point. Good to see you on here, my friend. It says until we find out who Satoshi Nakamoto is, we are subject to his power of 1 million Bitcoin in the individual wallet. Yeah, Jack. So that 1 million, whoever's holding that, I believe it's probably an institution by now. I wouldn't put it past that the Federal Reserve is sitting on that 1 billion, just because it seems like it could be, possible. So if the Federal Reserve is sitting on that 1 billion, they're in a mighty good position, because not only can they control the price of Bitcoin overall, because they can inflate away the currency, and then they're going to be on the receiving end with 1 million Bitcoin. So that's a good way. So, okay, let's just talk crazy right now. Let's just go crazy talk real quick. So if Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he or they are, it has 1 million coins, that can, in the worst case scenario, that is a hell of a reserve account. If you look at it in relation to the moment that they open that wallet up and look to get rid of some of those coins, that could be the equivalent of sitting on 1 million ounces of gold, 1 million, kilogram bars, 1 million, I'm saying, like, if you use that number in comparison to weight as a reserve, so like we're supposed to have 8,300 in Fort Knox in bricks of gold. Whoever this guy is, or person is, they got 1 million digital blips of the very first, very unique and rare cryptocurrency sitting in a wallet somewhere. That carries the same amount of potential value, because, and if it happens to be the same entity, the Federal Reserve note, the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve, aren't they in a very good position for this next restructuring? Because not only could they come out with their own coin, but they also can manipulate and kill BTC with this 1 million possibly. They can destroy complete confidence in the BTC sector by dumping that million in a hyperinflationary type of environment where people lose all hope and confidence and run for the doors and not forget about BTC, but say to hell with BTC. I don't want that. If it gets to the point where it's found or proven that, say for example, the Federal Reserve is behind it and they're sitting on it. It's their cold wallet sitting in the bottom of the vaults in the basement of the Federal Reserve. So just talking crazy talk, but once again, we don't know. It says the only way I see BTC hitting 7 digits is as institutions start panic buying the dump dollar holdings. 7 digits. Kid, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, this BTC and where it could go and how disruptive it has been positioned to be. There's the opportunity. Anything is possible is what I'm trying to get at. And I would imagine it'll go up to 7 figures before it goes to 0 because of what it's denominated in or measured in value terms in Federal Reserve notes. So worst case scenario, there's always going to be a demand for BTC in Venezuela. There's always going to be a demand for BTC in Argentina. In every country that's having fiat currency issues, there's always going to be a demand to where there's always going to be a buyer if they can get a hold of it. So, it says, Dusty Rhodes, I'll take 1 million. I'll take 1,000. Oh, yeah, I'll take 1,000 too. Tony Blelock, did anyone see Greg Hunter interview Bill Holter and Jim Sinclair? Tony, I did. Great interview. And I thought about, I'm a fan of Greg Hunter, and so I watch his videos as much as I can. And so I'm thinking about doing like a little follow-up commentary type of situation for all his guests, because one thing he does, he has the same guest on over and over again, saying similar things, just repeating or sharing information based on the most recent news. Same subject matter, but giving information on the same subject matter. Not really solutions, apart from everybody knows to get their weight up. You know, get their weight up is an RTD thing for the most part, but everybody know to get yourself some gold. But he's not really positioning people on how, what, where, his opinion, what he does type of thing. So that's where I hope this channel and how it distinguishes itself from other channels. The fact is, you know, I'm looking to roll out some projects and start a community. So basically in the next couple of days or so, for those that want to actually work in the RTD type of community style, I'm going to roll out a Get Your Weight Up Club, and we're going to do some things as a team for those that are interested. So I'm going to shine more light on it in a minute, but I'm on the back end now doing some things, you know, getting my weight up. And so I want to share with you how we can do it together. And definitely, because entrepreneurship is going to be extremely important in the next couple of days. As more people are losing jobs, they're going to be looking for solutions. And so I think we can be of a blessing to a lot of people. So more information on that to come. It says, well, in regard to your topic, this is why they are restructuring. And so, as always, I don't know if I missed any phone calls, but feel free to give me a call, and we can, so electric vehicle stakes of GM. So, yeah, definitely, I don't doubt that the electrical cars, Tencom Media, I don't doubt that the electrical cars is the primary reason. And it also hit at what the caller mentioned earlier about autonomous vehicles and their demand and need to change up the automotive game. And the best way to change the automotive game would be to get into autonomous cars. So it would be a good way to downsize, restructure, lessen your workforce, and just only keep what you need to build autonomous cars, so that you can have 2 streams of income as a manufacturer. You can make the cars and then partner with the people doing all the infrastructure for the cars, so where every car on the street you will hope would be a GM autonomous vehicle for every type of taxi service and truck service and, you know, deliver your groceries to your house type service, all autonomous, no driver needed. Just put the groceries in the back seat, it'll drive to the car, drive to the house. That's what they want. That's what they want us to do ultimately. And so trying to make everything easy for us only makes us lazier and more dependent upon things that are disrupting society. So that's what it is, man. It says, on the price gets so low, people will buy it up when the trend reverses. Jack, I agree 100%. It says, didn't China buy Saudi oil and yuan and had to be exchanged in London for gold? Tony, I don't think there's been an official announcement on the Saudi and yuan situation, even though I don't doubt they got some behind the scene things, but nothing has been officially announced, I don't think. But I could be wrong. And so we're about to wind down this chat this evening, and since someone shared a topic on Venezuela, I want to end this. I want to wrap up this evening just getting your thoughts on Venezuela. It looks like the other day President Trump referenced that he will be willing to put some boots on the ground or some military intervention in Venezuela. And so the more and more this is really rammed down our throat as far as us needing to restore democracy, and the fact that I came across an article earlier saying that there's 9 EU nations that are in agreement with the idea that Maduro has to go. So I'm thinking, like, they are really ramping up the need to get Maduro out of office. And so what they're going to be doing with that is basically starting some things that will be very problematic for a lot of people, just because it's going to be hard to, you know, how you going to swing this? I mean, how can you swing the invasion of another country? The death toll is going to be left behind, the destruction that's going to be left behind, and then the idea that you're going to put in power someone who is not even operating in the best interest of his own people. And so it's going to be real hard, man, for people to really even want to do business with the United States of America after this thing unravels. And that puts us in a very bad position as a nation, because once again, we're already living on borrowed time, literally borrowed time. And so it says Venezuela is cracking down on Bitcoin fever. This is a good article, man. So this is about 2 years ago. But I think one of the bigger currencies that is being used is Dash. Dash is really big in Venezuela. And so I saw a lot of documentaries on how they actually have payment processes and stuff there. And so definitely, man, this is what's happening. And so let me get to the chat. I want to get some people's thoughts on Venezuela. And so we got the government shut down, possibly with a national emergency call in the next 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. It says China is a danger zone. I smell a dead cat on the line with Maduro. It says almost $40,000 for a Chevy Volt with GM discount. I'd rather get my weight up. Penhas, 100%. And in my opinion, there's no, everybody's different, but just for me, there's no need for me to put any funds into anything that won't appreciate in value in relation to storing economic energy for the future. And then 2, yeah, I'm just like, right now, anything outside of what is considered an asset to hold for the future is considered a dumb purchase for me, to where, I'm even trying to crack down on my wife to cut back on all the Amazon stuff. Like, because this Amazon package every day coming to the house. And I'm thinking like, man, you could up your weight a little bit more or do some things with that, but I'm going to leave that alone. I might get in trouble. It says Dash is trash, low blood pressure. That's a good way of putting it. That even rhymes. It says the Criminal News Network, EOS, Dash works, CNN, that's all it needs. Dash is junk. Where do you get your info? Prince Hall, Mason. And once again, we can shout out what projects are trash, what doesn't work, what do work. But Dash it has a strong community, it's being utilized, and people find value in it. So here's the thing. There's so many countries around us that actually have use cases and payment processing mechanisms to receive crypto and to do crypto transactions, that we here in America, the adoption that everyone's waiting on, it's happening, but it's not. Everyone's basing and interested on the ETFs and all the institutional money getting involved, as if like that's going to be the original game changer. But I believe the game changer is going to be when fiat currencies, experience some issues, like I believe by the end of this year we're going to have, because of that, because of this next coming economic slowdown that's underway now, aka the recession. And as a result of that could be the trigger to cause crypto to go a lot higher, just because it's people trying to get out of the old system into the new, because the new has been positioned as a viable option, because you look at all the too big to fail banks doing protocol type things, blockchain projects and coins. And, I even see, like I always mention, you'll know it's official when you get a letter in the mail from your regional bank or your credit union bank offering you to store your cryptos or giving you an option to buy cryptos directly. When you get that, it's mainstream. But until then, yeah, we can keep talking and have some fun with it. But it is what it is, people. So as always, man, it's been great going back and forth, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. As always, if you are watching and you haven't been enjoying the chat, don't be afraid to give us a thumbs up. More importantly, make sure you guys, if we have any new people down here, there's a lot of resources down below, a lot of free material, a lot of videos I've done before, just to give you a spin as to what we're doing here and where this is going. More importantly, for those that are interested, go to rethinkingthedollar.com and check out the 4 steps. I'm basically trying to summarize it to make it more user-friendly for people to, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and to become proactive and becoming part or unplugging themselves rather from the monetary matrix. So Other than that, be safe, be blessed. We got Roy from Montana. How you doing, Roy? How's things in Montana? What else? But with that being the case, appreciate everybody chiming in. Be blessed, be safe, and more importantly, if you guys want to support the channel, I would love your support. Patreon. If you guys want to donate and become a monthly contributor to this work, I would appreciate it. The link to Patreon is down below. And of course, BTC, your boy do take that. So other than that, be blessed, be safe. See you later.